Hey y'all, I'm BGM, or Bigger Gayer Magic, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Spider-Man scene box that's coming out later this year in 2025. We got 6 cards total, 4 of them are legendary creatures, 2 of them are spells, one's an artifact, one's a sorcery. We got Venom, Green Goblin, Doc Ock, and Spider-Man himself. We're going to be starting with Doc Ock. Doc Ock, Evil Inventor, is a 7-mana legendary in Demir colors. He's an 8/8 human scientist villain, and he gives us the beginning of combat trigger to turn target non-creature artifact you control into an 8/8 robot villain artifact creature in addition to its other types. Guys, I'm going to be real with you. This feels underpowered to me for a 7-mana Demir commander. You don't got a lot of ramp in these colors outside of artifacts, and even though he cares about those, I don't know. He's an 8/8, he's a relevant body, but he ain't got no keywords. I don't know. Let's check out his tentacles. So we got ourselves a little 3-drop Demir sorcery that says target opponent mills 8 cards. You may put an artifact card from that player's graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. Okay, cool. So we definitely want to be targeting the artifact player with this thing. We want to have things in our opponent's graveyards, I assume, for this. So this deck isn't just going to be running non-creature artifacts, it's also going to be wanting to mill people, it seems, or at least this sorcery supports that. And it's not self-mill, it's milling opponents, because it's pulling things out of there. Okay, there's a lot of cool artifacts in Commander. Chamil the Second Sun comes to mind, Thran Dynamo is always cool to have, Hedron Archive. There's lots of viable artifacts we can shove in here, just have good stuff. I don't know, I feel like 7 mana for an 8/8 without keywords that just makes one thing an 8/8 is kind of lame. Notable about the beginning of combat trigger, it's not until end of turn, it just is the thing. Yeah. It just is an 8/8. That's cool. Also, it's a robot villain. I don't think those are relevant creature types, but we can do it with this thing. I don't know, I feel like it's underwhelming. As for the art, I'm not a big fan of the retro villain costumes, that's just me. Let's move on to the Green Goblin. So we got the Green Goblin, he is a 4-drop, flying, 3/3 goblin human villain. We got another Rakdos Goblin Commander. Okay, flying. Whenever you discard a non-land card, put a +1/+1 counter on a goblin you control. Whenever you discard a land card, you make a trapped treasure token. I kind of like this. We got another 4-drop Goblin Commander. This thing could helm a Rakdos Goblin deck. We did see some Rakdos Goblin support in the Caverns of Ixalan set. I kind of like this. I don't mind it. It cares about +1/+1 counters, and it does them one at a time, and it does it when we discard things. So we're in a Rakdos kind of madness discard theme, I imagine. And whenever you discard a land card, you make yourself a little tap treasure. Let's check out the Pumpkin Bombs. Pumpkin Bombs is a 2-drop red artifact with an activated ability to tap it, discard 2 cards, then draw 3 cards. Put a fuse counter on this artifact, and it deals damage equal to the number of fuse counters on it, and then target opponent gains control of it. Yeah, that's great. I love this. This feels like a little, Humble Defector. This feels very Humble Defector core to me. I love Humble Defector. My friends don't give Humble Defector back to me, but this thing also out damage, and I find that pretty exciting. Yeah, I like the Pumpkin Bombs. Out of the 4 cards we've seen so far, I'm most excited for the Pumpkin Bombs. I love things that pass cards around the table. This thing does a little bit of card draw, but you do have to discard 2 cards, but there's also damage attached to it. It becomes more impactful the longer it stays on the board. I really like Pumpkin Bombs. Pumpkin Bomb is my favorite card I've seen so far. Let's talk about Venom. Venom is a 4-drop, 4/4 Vigilance Menace. Symbiote. Hey, we got Symbiote as a creature type. That's somewhat exciting. You can play as goo people and not be mono green oozes. This thing has an activated ability to pay 3 mana, exile target creature card from a graveyard. If you do, you put X +1/+1 counters on target Symbiote. Symbiote Tribal confirmed, where X is the exiled card's toughness. Has to be a creature card. I don't hate that. We got a Golgari, Counters Matter, little kind of Voltron Vigilance Menace. I don't know. This doesn't feel that impactful to me as a Voltron commander, especially in Golgari colors. This thing's just a 4/4, it's got Vigilance, it's got Menace, so you can block with it and you can attack with it. It does get bigger, and it does do Graveyard Hate. Graveyard Hate is pretty important in Commander, in my opinion, so it's cool that it does that, but it only hits creatures. I don't know, it feels very basic to me. Venom, I expected more. Moving on to Spider-Man. Sensational Spider-Man is a 3-drop legendary spider-human hero in Azorius colors. This might be our first Azorius Spider ever. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. When Sensational Spider-Man attacks, you tap target creature defending player controls, and you put a stun counter on it. Then you can remove 3 stun counters from among all permanents, and you draw cards equal to the number of stun counters removed this way. Okay, cool. So we got Spider-Man. He does interaction on combat. He does a little tapping. He opens our stuff up and removes some blockers from the equation. I don't know. It's a 3-drop. It's a 3/3. I wouldn't run this in Commander, would you? It's wordy. It's one the trigger's really wordy. I don't like it. So we attack. We get to tap something and stun it, and then we can remove up to 3 stun counters to draw that many cards. So it's an Azorius stun counter tap deck. We did see something a lot similar to this in the Throne of Eldraine with that Ice Queen thing. I feel like Spider-Man goes in Ice Queen. I don't know if I would run Spider-Man over Ice Queen, though. I don't know. I'm not super stoked about any of these. If I'm being super real with you, the only card that really like sparks joy and makes me excited is the Pumpkin Bombs, because the Pumpkin Bombs feels great. It feels like it's designed for Commander. It moves around, it gets card draw, and it does damage. Alright, y'all, so that is the Spider-Man Scene Box that was recently spoiled on March 1st of 2025, coming out later in 2025. What do you guys think of the Spider-Man Scene Box? Do you think my comments were spicy? Do you think we weren't spicy enough? How do you feel about Marvel properties being in a mainline set, or just being a mainline set? Let me know in the comments, and I hope you draw the appropriate amount of lands during your next game.
Like and follow for more bigger, gayer magic.
And as always, a very special thank you to my patrons who are actively helping me achieve my dreams of full-time content creation. Thank you, guys. I hope this video was alright for y'all. I know my stuff's normally scripted, and this was a little bit more ad-libbed, a little bit more like my streams. Thank you guys so much, and until then, here's a forehead kiss to tide you over. Thank you, guys.